Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Sishyate. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Is there anybody from New York? I don't know. Or if anybody knows in New York. I'm going to give a camp there in June 8th and 9th. I'm taking the Upadesha Shara of Ramana Maharshi's text. It's a very beautiful text and very condensed of old Vedanta in a very simple slokas. And that's on June 8th and 9th in New York actually. So if you are coming, let me know, so I can ride with you. No, actually I can go, I'll be going by train. But so Yajnavalkya started teaching the wife Maitreyi. Now she's a disciple and he's a teacher. Where he started, says you need to do srotavyam, mantavyam and nididhyasitavyam, where one has to listen to the scriptures for a prolonged length of time until the knowledge is clear and there is no problem with the pramana, prameya. So the listening srotavya removes the problems related to pramana. Pramana is this really right? That's what Vedanta says. So I have to have a clear understanding what Vedanta says. That is, pramanam has to be clear. Pramanam means of knowledge. Then mananam is required because what one pramana says is different from what other pramana is telling. So therefore, because I see everything is one, is scripture says, but I see plurality. So there is a conflict in terms of two pramanas. So what is right and what is wrong? And Shankara gives a beautiful description of what called adhyasa bhashya. Adhyasa bhashya, before he writes Brahma Sutra, there is a few pages of called adhyasa bhashya. Adhyasa bhashya is error of superimposition. And this Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in the earlier chapters, he discusses about adhyaropa apavada process. This is what Advaita Vedanta emphasizes. Adhyaropa apavada, what does all this Sanskrit word means? Adhyaropa apavada means you tell something until you reach that, then we neglect that. That's wrong. You go higher. So until then, that is right. That's a statement of progressive this one. That's what Taittiriya Upanishad also, if you look at Taittiriya Upanishad, it's when you talk about different koshas, it's talking about Annamaya kosha. From Annam everything came. So you remember the sloka is Yato va imani bhutani jayante. Remember that sloka. By now you should be knowing that. From which the whole thing came, by which it is sustained, into which goes back. So everything came from Annam, by Annam only is sustained, into Annam only it becomes. So Annam is Brahman, Annamaya kosha, right? You are born of food, in the Taittiriya Upanishad also, say the Annat Bhavati Bhutani. So you say all is essentially the Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Agniyapaha, Abdu, Prithvi, Prithviya, Voshadaya, Voshadi, Byonnam, Annat, Purushaha. So it comes. From Annam came. So it's each one is identifying. Then you go to next step. It's called Pravilapanam. That means you reject what you learn and identify with the higher step. Before that, you need to. That's why in the mathematics, you learn about the base 10 first, right? Everything, on the basis of 10. Then you learn there's only one kind of knowledge. So you can learn have a base 2 and base 8, all those things also as you go up. That's a new math or something I call it. But this technology where called adhyaropa, you superimpose this until you go beyond. So what is superimposed? There is an Ishvara who is a creator of this universe, and therefore, because I didn't create this, when I came it's already there. Neither my grandfather created it. And I know it is a creation because it's not a random process. People think it's all random. Nothing random. So-called randomness, how many people are mathematicians here. So the statistics applies only for ensemble of collective particles. You can tell the behavior of a particles by using statistics. That's what it means. But you cannot tell the behavior of an individual particle using statistics. It's not statistically, it is a deterministic system there. It's not a probabilistic system. Probabilities, the probability of this group behaves like this. That's what the statistics will tell you. But it cannot tell you the behavior of an individual in that. When I am interested, I am not interested in the probability of all how human beings behave. Say, why am I born? Why am I suffering? Is the behavior of an individual is I am concerned about. I am concerned about myself. Remember, I love myself. That's what Yajnavalkya is telling. Nobody loves other than oneself. I love myself. I want to know why I am born. Why all these things too? So when I was a child, my mother used to say, "Oh, don't step on it. God will punish you." So anytime I do, God is there to punish me. When I was a child, don't step on the paper, don't do this, God will punish you. God is there only to punish small children, I thought. Because that's what I've been trained to. But God is what? He is a creator. So that's the... Don't tell I'm deviating from there. We're talking about creation. So he's a creator. So why do I not say this is a creation? So how can you say creation? I don't know how many people read recently, about a few months back. I think, what's his name? The great scientist who can't speak. What is that? He said, God did not create this, he declared, as if he knows God. God did not create this universe. What did create? Nature created. That's what it is. But how did nature come into picture? Obviously, he doesn't understand. He didn't say that. We learned that. But we ask everything. What exactly means? Why do you say it's a creation even? Because it follows order. Because sitting, how big is our earth? We think it's so big and all that. And we fight problems in, this is my land, this is your land, this is all this fighting within these nations and countries. But whole world, whole earth is nothing but a speck in the whole solar system. And we are fighting for small speck in that. If you look at the grandeur of the whole thing, this is nothing. And whole life, our life itself is, the time span itself is nothing. And the solar system itself is small compared to, if you look at the whole galaxy of this whole Milky Way, Sun is only a small speck there. You can't even find the planets there. And whole galaxy is another bubble in the whole, remember yesterday I was asking, this is a whole bubble in the galaxies and galaxies all there. I don't know how many people are scientists here, but recently we say, we are seeing the birth of new galaxies. Some billions and billions of light years away. but have clear understanding. It's not that they are being created there. We are seeing they are created there. Because the light itself took so many years to come and reach us for us to see. By that time, they are already old there. Right? But if you are sitting there in that galaxy, you will be sitting there. We are really new galaxies that are coming. I don't know if you understand all this, because when I look into the sky, I am not seeing this present, I am seeing all the past only. Because the nearest star is 4 light years away. That means the light that I am seeing now is 4 years ago, that's what I am seeing right now there. So when I am seeing the galaxy's light, the thousands of light years away means the thousands of years ago that light came, it came to me now. What is now, I will see only after thousands of years. This all has to be clear. We don't see, we are only looking at the past all the time. And where did this creation, scientist, because I am a scientist, I understand what the problems of science also. Where did the creation came? It's a Big Bang, right? You all remember Big Bang theory. A Big Bang theory, where does it occur? You know where it occurred? How do you know Big Bang occurred, by the way? Because if you look at the galaxies far away, they are going further and further away. So if you extrapolate backwards in terms of the time going, it will meet at one point, that's where the bang occurred, because all the galaxies must have come at that point and they are expanding now, right? They are continuously expanding. Therefore, where did it occur? It occurred where you are extrapolating. Fellow has to be there to extrapolate that, right? So I am sitting here trying to extrapolate that, and it's meeting at the point where I am. So it occurred where the observer is. You should know that. If I am sitting in the other galaxies 20 light years, 20 million light years away, and they're sitting and trying to look at the whole expanding and extrapolate, it will meet there. Therefore, Big Bang occurred everywhere. At the same time, everywhere is a concept of space, there is no space. You are coming to Madhyandina Upanishad now. Like I said, the creation itself is a fictitious, because it is where the observer is, and observer has to be there before you can see anything is observed. Observer has to be there before the observed can be. Existence of an object is established by the knowledge of the existence only. But yet, this is a creation. Why? It follows the thermodynamic laws. Sitting here in the small earth in a corner, I am able to deduce the laws that are governing galaxies and galaxies away. That means it's called well-ordered behaved system. Thermodynamics is called well-ordered behaved system. So it has to be, the laws governing is not just like that. It is not a random laws. It is the system that is well behaved. Therefore, it has to be a creation. Order is there. And anything order, if you know thermodynamics, work has to be done. Creative work. We call it a creation because it's beautiful also. Therefore, there has to be an intelligence behind it. So what do you call the God? First definition of God is Jagat Karta Ishvaraha. Oh, I give all these things. Jagat Karta is Ishvara. God is nothing but the creator of this whole universe. That's what every philosopher will say, every religion will say the same thing. Right? But Hindus won't keep quiet with that. How did he create? Where did he get material for creation? Where is the material for Big Bang? Was the space there before creation? You cannot ask the Big Bang theory fellow, ask where is the space, where is the matter and all that. They call it singularities. In the mathematics they call it singularity. You cannot ask anymore. Time, space, everything came with the bang only in the Big Bang. For us also same, where the observer is there and from which the whole creation, from Atmava, the whole thing. Remember in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it starts with the Brahman. Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam, Brahma, it defines. Then immediately in the next paragraph, it switches to Atma. without telling you. Why? It says Atma, says Akasha Sambhuta. It is Atma, not Brahman there. The sloka says there, Atma, the Akasha Sambhuta, Akasha Vayu, Vayogni, all those is coming from Atma, I am, that is this very source for which the whole thing came, starting from that Atma, consciousness. At the same time, consciousness, infinite, cannot create anything because creation involves a modification. Only finite can undergo modification. Infinite cannot be because it is infinite. If it undergoes, it is a finite. So from Brahman, nothing can come out. Yet everything is coming out from Brahman because there is nothing other than Brahman. So you remember we are only chanting that sloka, Purnamada, Purnamidam, Purnat, Purnamudachyate. Not that I am going to be, because that itself is a big topic of the discussion of Purnamidam. So Idam Purnam. Idam Purnam is, this is infinite. Purnam is complete. Idam is what? That comes in Isha. Isha Vasya Medagam Sarvam. Says idam sarvam is this I can point out, whatever I can point out is idam. This entire universe I can point out as idam is purnam, is infinite. End of the story? In principle, yes. Purnamadaha, that is also infinite. We have another problem. Who is that adaha now? Idam purnam is completely infinite. There is nothing other than idam because everything is infinite. There has to be some other which is different from idam in order to say Purnamadaha and Purnamidam. Right? So what is that adaha? Aham. Why? I am, because I am the one who says this is, I cannot say I am as this. So I am different from this, therefore this adaha should be different from idam, and adaha that I cannot be pointed out as idam is only aham. Follow? So, Purnamada, Purnamida. That which I cannot be pointed, I am appointing, the one who is appointed is different from pointer. Pointer cannot be pointed, subject cannot become an object. So, therefore, there are two things now. One is, this entire universe is Purnam, infinite, and I am also infinite. But by these two statements, nothing is infinite. Why? Because one infinite cannot be two, there cannot be two infinities. So neither Adam can be infinite or Aham can be infinite. If I just say, because this excludes that and that excludes this, by mutual exclusion, neither one is Purna. Right? Therefore, I have to understand the next line. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. From Purnam, this Purnam came. From infinity, another infinity came. Infinity, nothing comes out. Infinite plus minus infinite is only infinite only. Mathematically, that is exactly the way it is. But with that, you are two Purnams there. Purnamada, Purnamidam. From Purnam came. And which Purnam came here? You have two Purnams left there. Sir, look at this statement. Purnamada. Purnamidam. Adaha stands for Aham and Idaha stands for the entire universe, Jagat that you see. That Purnam from the because of the parallel construction. Purnat Purnam Udachyate. From Purnam came. Which Purnam? Aham Purnam, everything came. Follow now that. And in coming, plus minus infinity is only infinity. There is only one infinity only, depending upon how you look at it. So, Purnasya, Purnamadaya, Purnameva Vasishyate. From Purnam or from to Purnam, you add infinity, infinite infinity, infinity only. Perfect mathematics there. Yet the whole Vedanta is packed there also, and Yajnavalkya is going to use that now. Why are you telling that? That's exactly what he is going to tell, where from me the whole universe came. From Atma, the whole universe came. And how did it come is going to explain in terms of an example wise here. And that's why I had to dwell in that Purnamada, which is also sloka of the Yajurveda Vedanta also. So now we look at the sloka 10. Sayatha ardredagnehe abhyahitat prutak dhuma vinischaranti evam va aresya mahato bhutasya nisvasitam etadyat Rugvedo yajurveda samaveda atharvangirasa itihasa puranam vidya upanishadaha slokaha sutrani anuvyakhyani vyakhyanani asyaivaitani nisvasitani. Okay. Here the creation is explained in a particular way. So first he gives an example. The first 2 lines is an example, and the next is how the creation started. The way the creation explained in this creation explained in different ways in different Upanishads also. Okay? So remember the Taittiriya Upanishad we just now say Tasmat Atmana Eka Akasha Sambhutaha Akashat Vayu Agnihi Agnyapa Abja Prithvi Prithivya Vashadaya Vashadebhyonnam Annat Purusha. So there the Panchabhutas are coming down as one by one, from the subtlest to the grossest. All the 5 bhutas are created. Interesting thing, because this, I can't but discuss all these things. The problem with Chinmaya Mission members maybe. When it says something came from something, and which something cannot really come because infinite cannot create anything, what exactly this process? It came, but it did not really come. But it came because you are seeing it. Therefore, here the whole creation depends upon the perceptions of the creation itself. Because I am seeing it, therefore I say there is a creation. But if I see myself in that, then it becomes a glory. Because I have an equipment to see the BMI, the body, mind and intellect that I have, I cannot but see. These are the problems in body. Because I have eyes, remember, when I have eyes to see and my mind is there, as soon as I open my eyes, if my mind is behind my eyes, I cannot but see what is there in front. Unless my mind is somewhere else, then it's a different thing. Mind is required. Because I am there all the time, the consciousness is there all the time, and mind is there when it is enlivened. I cannot but see when the senses are always going out. Because the senses always has a tendency to go out. And grasp depending upon them. But what exactly, remember one introduction I gave so much. All that is required. So when senses grow out, they only go out and gather the attributes of the objects only. Eyes can only see form and colors. Ears can only hear, because these are properties of the object, and I don't really see the object. And I went through all how physics also explained, I am seeing only reflection. So even so-called the properties, I am not seeing the real properties also. I am only seeing reflected properties, right? Eyes can only, depending upon my capacity of my eyes. If I am colorblind, I give example, colorblind, I cannot see what it is there, but I see what I think it is. So in all these things, the implication is the properties are come from which I am gathering that there is an object out there. Right? So in fact in the Panchadasi that I am taking the text in the Durga temple, this is exactly how Vidyaranya describes in terms of, because of the Shabda, I say there is a space out there. Because from the Shabda means sound, I can be looking at it, I don't need to see, I don't need to do anything. By depending upon the way sound is coming, I can locate, it's coming this side or that side. So spatial location can be pointed out by Shabda. So space can be known. And like that, each property, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Abda, Prithvi. So each one in the creation picks up its own property plus the other property of the previous ones. So Akasha has only Shabda, Vayu has Shabda plus Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These are the five senses. So it picks up Sparsha. By contact, I know it's a cold or not. Air is cold or air is hot. We need air condition. It's a cold air. We need all those things. So same way, each one as you go along, Akasha, Vayu, Agni has a Rupam also. Besides it, there's Buga Sabdam. That's how he describes also. Buga Sabdam for the Agni. And Agnehe Apaha. So all that form plus it has a taste. Sabda Spusa Rasam is there. And all that four plus Gandha for the earth. So each one is picking up additional property. What implication is? Only through the property I am gaining that there is a substance out there. Remember, this is all Vyavaharika Satyam aspect was discussed. Now, this is how the creation here is going to be explained, which is different from the previous description, that is Aitareya. There are, according to some count, there are 80 theories of creation. Both Pauranic stories and Vedantic stories, there are 80 theories of creation, which means that there is no real creation. Each one has your own theory. You can have your own theory also. As long as you are happy, other people may not be happy with it. So, which implicates that because there is no real creation, because you are seeing it, you can explain it until you understand that there is no real creation. Until you explain, we have to tell you the whole cock and bull stories. This is how the creation occurs. So, I was going to tell something else now, it's coming now. What was the definition of the God? First definition I gave, Jagat Karta Ishwaraha. When you ask, next question, how can this be? Where is the matter for him to create? Where did he get the matter? Other religions won't answer that question. If you ask us a blasphemy, you cannot ask that kind of questions. But Vedanta is allowed to ask questions. So why does he? There is no other way. If God has to create something, he has to get material from himself. Therefore, the material also from him. Therefore, even the creation has to come from himself only. There is no other material. So that's why it says, I became many. I myself became many. So therefore, all religions say he is everywhere. How can he be everywhere? Everywhere because everything is nothing but him only. But here we say nothing but here, everything me only. There is no Ishvara anymore now. So we are now coming to a stage going from what's called triangular to binary format. What is the triangular format? This is, I'm using the word language of Swami Paramarthananda. Triangular form means right now I think I am a Jiva. And this is the world in front of me, and there is a creator. There are three things now, right? I am Jiva, this is a Ishvara, and there is a creator. But now, when I say that everything came from me, there is no more Ishvara now, separate. We just remove the Ishvara also. So is Ishvara there or not? Depends upon who is asking the question and to whom you are answering. Other fellow may beat you up if you say there is no Ishvara. If you go to the temple and say there is no Ishvara there, say they will, other bhaktas will beat you up. So, question is, who is asking the question? To what maturity you are asking the question? So that's why Adhyaropa Apavada I mentioned, you take it for granted there is an Ishvara, there is a creation, there is this one where you do all the karma, upasana, everything is sanctified until you come to a stage of Kenopanishad which says what you are worshipping is not really God. But that is teaching is only for those who are mature enough. So what do we have to do now? With this understanding everything is Atma, now we are now dropping something in the process. We are going, first is Jagat Karta Ishvara. Second definition of Ishvara is Jagat Karanam Ishvaraha. Jagat Karanam is he is Upadana Karanam. He is the material because everything is nothing but him only. That's the second definition. But also now, how can I be carpet be God, carpet this is garbage is God, that's also everything. How can you say that? Then we have to go to the third definition. What is the third definition? Sarva Adhishthanam Ishvaraha. Everything, the substantive of the whole thing is nothing but Ishvara, just as substantive of all the matter is nothing but electrons, protons, neutrons. Even though garbage is garbage and food is food, but the substantive from which they came, by which it sustained, into which they go back, is nothing but the same. So therefore, Sarva Adhishthanam. And what is Sarva Adhishthanam? This is what is talking about. I am is Sarva Adhishthanam. So, Atma Vedam Sarvam. Everything is nothing but Atma. Therefore, I had to graduate in the process of this Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. My mind also has to mature enough to recognize there are only two things now. Originally, I have three things. I am, Lord, and the world. Now I have to graduate myself to a stage where there are only two things. I am and this apparent world. Atma, Anatma. Before that, Jiva, Ishvara and Jagat. So all the philosophies are going to describe Jiva, Jiva Bhinnatvam, Jiva Jagat Bhinnatvam, Jiva Ishvara Bhinnatvam, Jagat Ishvara Bhinnatvam. All differences of all these three. But now I am trying to unite all that. Says there is only Atma and Anatma. And Anatma also I am there as the very substantive of the Anatma also. Follow now? The everything is only superficial names and forms, but I am the everything too. So there is nothing other than Atma actually, but other is only superimpositions. Adhyasa is there. I see the superimpositions as long as I have the equipments to differentiate the superimpositions. That means my senses are working. As long as my senses are working, I cannot but see. Differences and all that are I cannot but see. But at the same time, the oneness that pervades all that I see, I hear, I taste, everything is nothing but I am. That is, therefore, I am moving from a stage where there is a Jagat, Ishvara and that to Atma, Anatma Vichar. Now, why am I saying all these things? I am talking to Madhav, my friend. He says, when he goes to temple, he says, I cannot see the Lord separate. I cannot do the puja and all the some of I can't do also. Ritual becomes difficult. Now how do we? Because I am invoking some God out there for me to do the ritual, right? I didn't go through all the introduction in the Shankara Bhashya. The rest of the introduction I remember, I left it. There, Shankara says, whoever does ritual is ajnani. Flat. What? Yes. Because you are saying he is different from me, therefore I am doing, remember that puja statement came, therefore I am doing the puja. Therefore I should not do any ritual? No. You do ritual now with Atma Anatma Vichara. Follow now? You don't have to change any scene. But at the same time, when the problem comes, don't run to the temple with the coconuts and all that. Why? Because this is all Anatma, remember? That knowledge has to come in. This is a part of the beauty of this. There are always this and there are always terrorists, there are always do. Playing the game, drama is their drama. But enjoy the drama without getting involved. And when you are in that stage, play your role also properly. What need to be paid? If somebody is hurting a small child, don't say, oh, this is anatma, Lord is everywhere and all that. No. Part of the anatma includes stopping that and kicking that fellow left and right, whoever is causing the problem. That's also part of the drama only. Play that drama as required, as according to dharma. Because that is the glory of beauty of creation itself. Now, someone was driving me yesterday and said, what should I do with this knowledge? Because it's all part of thing in a way. When I look at the nature, everywhere it's blooming, right? Beautiful flowers all over the place. If you come to my house, everywhere I see rose, because my wife takes care of rose plants more than anybody else. But every flower beautifies, the nature is blooming so beautifully. It arrests what is the beauty. When you look at it, your mind cannot think, but it becomes one with the nature. Until you start saying, this is mine, that is hers and all that. But when you are one with the beauty of it, you become one with it, the whole universe itself. There is no more division of I and the universe. That is the real appreciation of the beauty. Now, nature cannot but beautify itself. That is the nature of the beauty itself. Everything is, anything you look, greenery comes all over, and when the snow comes, all the leaves will fall away. But that itself has its own beauty. And again coming, some beauty comes all over the routine. That is how the nature explodes itself. But that is taken care as the process of the nature itself. But for a human being, I am given an intellect to think. So Lord has says, okay, this fellow is created in my image. Remember some philosophers say he is created in my image. What is that image? Because he is also given little bit intellect to think. What is right, what is wrong. Kartum sakyum, akartum sakyum, anyadha kartum sakyum. He can do, he cannot do, and he can do another way within his capacity. So, to the degree that I can do, I have to use a creative ability to create the beauty in me and around me. That is the expression of the Lord in that way. Or expression of yourself as your own vibhuti. So what should I do? Live beautifully so that life becomes more beautiful because of your presence. Someone said, wherever he goes, wherever he, what is the statement? Wherever he goes, he creates happiness. And some people, whenever they go, they create happiness. Because thank God he left, so they're happy. So you should be, wherever you go, you have to create the happiness around you. That you can create only when I say, I am full. I don't need anything else from me. I can only pour out. That fullness has to be there for you to give. That's what is the Chinmaya Mission place. Giving more than what you take is the essence. So I can only give when I have it. Or a rich man only can give. The one who is trying to grab is no more rich. He may have billions, but he still wants some more. That means he is not rich. Only when I can give, that means I have more than I have for me to give. Then only he is rich. And be positioned to give only. Because you don't need anything. I am Atmani eva Atmana tushta. I am satisfied with myself as myself. There is nothing for me to need for my happiness. I can only give out because they are looking for, they don't know that they have the happiness. They are longing for it. So at least until then I just give it. And if I can teach them, hey, you don't need to ask for it also. They may not appreciate. Until they appreciate, you can keep on teaching. So, from the point of individual Atma, Anatma becomes the attitude of my living itself, rather than anymore, I am a Jiva and this is an Ishvara and that is a Jagat. So I have to move from triangular format to binary format after this camp is over. It will be over in a few minutes. That is the understanding of Atma idam eva sarvam, everything is nothing but myself, has to be understood. Okay? Now let's go back to our sloka here. It says here, the example is given, says sayatha, just as adhyayas. Adhyayas means the wet wood, you can say wet fuel. Say that which when you burn it, you are getting all sorts of things from that. You can start getting smoke, you can start smelling, wiring, sparklings, everything is getting created out of that. So when there is a wet wood that is being burned, so the wood is qualified as the Ishvara and the wetness is the Maya. So with the Maya, Ishvara is creating the whole universe. That is Sayatha. Just as in the same way, this whole creation is 2 points involved. One is the Ishvara, another is the Maya Shakti. So what is Maya Shakti? We gave explanation of yesterday also in the question and answer. So Maya Shakti is sum total of all vasanas put together is the very cause for the Maya. So I want this, he wants something else, the other fellow wants something. So the likes and dislikes or wants of all the people put together, it becomes a course for which the Ishvara creates. So from my point, it is me only creating. Means consciousness. Me means not the body, mind, intellect. Remember, that's also part of the totality, anatma only. Atma is pure existent consciousness that I am, is essentially projecting the whole. So here, example is given, and the Acharyas have given explanations. This is Ardra is Agnehi. This essentially, it is the wet wood that gives you smoke, and therefore the wetness is similar to the Maya. And Agnehi is the Ishvara. Ishvara and Maya together says Maya adhyachena prakritihi suyati sacharacharam. Under my direction, this prakriti is creating. And what is the prakriti? Mayanta prakritim vidyat. That is the Svetoswara Upanishad. Mayanta prakritim vidyat comes from the Svetoswara. By the by, just since it came, Swami Tejo Mayanja is giving Svetoswara Upanishad in Worcester. This time. First time he's taking that. I'm going there. Somebody asked me, did you go to Sandipani to learn all these things? No, I am just like you. I have a wife and I have a kid also to keep me at home or not to go to Sandipani. So I attended whatever I learned, attended only by attending the camps. I know Saroja, we were attending in the Michigan camp, we were sitting there, do you remember? So, by attending these camps, I learned whatever I could learn. So, it is none of this my knowledge. Only when I asked Guruji one day, so we need another brahmachari or something in the Virginia because this growing here and we need the other center is also growing. He looked at me, he said, how many brahmacharis I can supply? You start teaching. That's what he told me. He looked at I was looking at this, what is he saying? But he was so compassionate. He said, don't worry, it will come. You do just start. So I said, okay, he said it, therefore it will come. That is his problem, not my problem anymore. So whatever I learned is only by attending the camps only. Because we had study group. No, I used to take some study group in Hernan. My teachers are not there. My Hindi teacher here. She used to come every time. So I used to take a study group. We started with a study group in Hernan. And, this is what this Vijay Kumar does. What he does, I don't know if you know Vijay Kumar, that's Vijay Kumar. He's in charge of study groups. And he starts somewhere and puts somebody else and he escapes from that place. That's what he does. So he started one day, first week, and second day says, Sadaji, you take this one, I will do something else. So I got stuck with that study group. So we started study groups. People keep, and questions we were discussing, and because these questions are same questions that I also ask, everybody will start asking same questions. You know, where did Vasana come? How did Vasana? What is all those same questions? So I was answering, but same questions were coming again and again. Even after 5 years, same questions again. Questions didn't change. Same group. So I thought this is not the way. So I started, they say, I'm going to take classes teaching some textbooks so that people don't ask same questions. That's how my teaching, I know. Some people are here from the group also. Yeah? So that's how I started teaching anyway. That's how the whole started. But I don't know why I went all that. But essentially, this creation has to be where you have to evolve itself to see the beauty, and one only can learn from Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nidhyasitavyaha. There is no other shortcuts here. So here, Sayatha Ardi Agnehi Abhyahitam Pratak Dhuma Vinischaranti. Pratak Dhuma, all these varieties. Pratak means varieties of things starting from Dhuma. Dhuma means the smoke and the fires and the sprinkler, all those sparks, everything is coming from this same source. Just like that, the whole thing from one source came, the whole universe. That's what is the explanation. Evam va are asya mahato bhutasya Nisvasitam etadyatu Rigvedo, Yajurvedo, Samavedo. So he's going to talk now. From which the whole creation came, but here the creation is explained in a very beautiful way. How does it explain? It says there is a padartham and there is a padam. It says essentially Sabda Prapancha, Artha Prapancha has to be classified. Sabda Prapancha, Artha Prapancha. Sabda Prapancha is words. So in the beginning there was a word. Remember that what it says. Words, and from the words everything else. So here there is only concentrating of the words only now. Because words implies Artha Prapancha also. When I say cow, cow is a word. But it should have an object that which the cows correspond to. Right? Word correspond to some object. When I say gaga boo boo, it's not a word. Why? There is no object associated with gaga boo boo. Unless you discover something. So therefore, every word that has, you say, meaning is what? You have associated that word with an object. So padam and padartham. Right? Now, there is no really padartham. Really, there is only apparent padartham. Why? Because, remember we went through, what I see, remember all that introduction I gave, two class of one whole half a day is that introduction only. That is because of these things. Why? Because what I see is only the image for which I am giving a name. Right? What is this? So, when I see, perception involves volition and cognition of an object, and that object, once I cognize it, cognize means once I say this is the object with all the attributes, there has to be recognition or recognition. Recognition. Hey, this is a chair because in the past, I know somebody told me when I saw this is a chair. That's how the knowledge takes place. So remember, B for a boy, G for a girl, C for a cow. What did you learn? The child learned looking at the picture and looking at, beta, this is a cow, this is a boy. There is a picture and a name is being given. So the nama and the rupa going together for an object. You follow? So when I go inside, there is a cow there, and the mother says, "Beta, that is a cow." So I see, hey, that's a white one sitting there with the 4 legs, and they say, "That's a cow." I have a knowledge of that cow. Knowledge came when I have the picture, and now a name, nama, a padam, and a padartham is there, right? But when I see another one, there is one black cow there. Beta, that's also a cow. Hare, it is not white. That white was a cow, but this is a black. Now I am developing a jati. Jati is a common factor. The whiteness of this is cow and black is also cow, but there is one common property the cow this has and the cow that has, which is different from a dog somewhere. Right? So in the process of learning, I am picking up the vyakti. Vyakti is the individual property, and the jati, which is the inherent nature of the properties of all those species, or also is being gathered. And there's a lot of philosophical discussions, particularly in Nyaya. So jati is one of the dravyas of the essential, all those things are there. Advaita doesn't describe that, but we also know there is a jati. Jati niti kula gotra duragam nama rupa guna dosha varjitam deshakala vishayati vartiyadu brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. You know where it occurs? Viveka Chudamani. So it's in the beautiful, in the slokas, the meditation slokas, it comes in. Jati, niti, kulam, gotram. It says jati, niti, kula, gotra, duragam. It's beyond all that. Desha, kala, vishayati, vartiyatu. That which is beyond desham, kalam, and everything else. Brahma tattvamasi bhavayatmani. That is what is the Brahman, which is beyond all this. Beyond means it is that which is still there, but beyond the names and the forms. Not beyond somewhere else, it's there. So when I see an object is seen completely associated with the name, because a cognition and a recognition also comes. Because if there is no recognition, hey, I see this, what is that? I don't know what it is. Like, there is nothing memory to give me some information. Oh, that is the Gaga Babu he was talking about. When you say, now I know what is Gaga Babu, right? What, this is a cow? That's how the knowledge of memory comes into picture. Recognition comes into picture. When there is no recognition, cognition is still there, but I don't know what it is. From now on, I will give a name for it so that I can describe that object somebody else. So what is there? Every word, every object should have a name and attributes, or which is called form. So remember, asti bhati priyam rupam namam chaityancha panchakam. Asti bhati priyam is due to Brahman, and nama rupa is for the Jagat. What is Jagat? All the word, nothing but name and a form. Form is, rupam is sabda sparsa rupa rasa gandha. Those are only attributes of the object. It's only attributive knowledge. No substantive knowledge. What is substantive? Substantive means what is it made up of? We don't know actually. We think it's, oh, this, remember I gave you gold example. Gold, it is a gold ring, not iron ring. Gold is a substance. So why do we know gold is a substance? Because it is yellowish, gold color. Remember, all that glisters is not gold. I don't know if you have heard of that phrase. Just because it looks like gold, it need not be gold. That's why you remember Eureka story? Eureka, Archimedes story of Eureka, it's Eureka. How did it come? Because we want to know whether it's really gold, but it looks like gold, but it's not really gold or not. So he has to do, that's how the density and all that things, specific gravity, all those things came into picture, the Eureka story. Therefore, I cannot know what it is by looking at it. Just because it's a golden color need not be. The whole analysis of adhyasa, I was referring to adhyasa, right? The adhyasa bhashya. I don't know where I left it there. But that error of superimposition is there all the time. So, Not that I'm saying, because I know that it's going to be late for lunch, so I'm not wasting your time. I'm taking time enough for you to understand. In the process, I'm expanding the knowledge only. So in the Adhyasa Bhashya, this is how it started. I wrote it somewhere. It says, it starts with Ushmadashmat Prayojino. Let me say, I don't want to quote wrong, because that's the beauty of the whole Shankara Bhashya. Starts with the Adhyasa. I don't know why I wrote it here, but I wrote somewhere. So it says essentially, the one who sees the I am, Vishmad is you, I, you, I, he, what, everything you are talking about, differences. You remember, he is a Brahmana, he is a Kshatriya, he is this and that. Whenever I differentiate from him, he is going to differentiate me. And therefore all the differences come, and that differences, he starts with that only, with the Adhyasa Bhashya. He says, wherever this Ashmas Sabdaha, this Vishaya, that means this is an attribute, and this is a Visishta, and this is a Samanya. Remember that I told you about? Those differences, whenever you are doing it, remember that is only Adhyasa, that is an error. What is the error? I am superimposing something other than it there where it is. That's what error. Says, the definition of Adhyasa in the Adhyasa Bhashya is Satyanuta Mithunikaranam Adhyasam. The definition he gives in the Brahma Sutra, in the Adhyasa Bhashya, in the Brahma Sutra of Shankara, he says Atasmin Tadbuddhihi, or says Satyanuta Mithunikaranam Adhyasam. Means that superimpose, where I am superimposing two things together. One is real, another is unreal. One is Satyam, another is Asatyam. Satya, Anrutam means Asatyam. Satyanuta Mithunikaranam, Mith means mixing together as one entity for me to say as this is. And he gives an example of when we are in a light pitch dark, I am seeing there is a rope there, and I am seeing snake there. And what is Adhyasa? What is Satyam and what is Asatyam? There is an object there, that is Satyam. There is. So there is a snake, we say. Now there is a rope. So there is part remain the same, nothing will happen. So there is what? There exists something. But what it is, I am giving something. So what I am doing? I am superimposing some other snake somewhere else. Not that I am not bringing some snake somewhere and putting there. From my memory, because of the sadrusyam, that means there is a similarity between the snake and the rope, I am putting the attributes of that snake, I am putting attributes only. Attributes of the snake on this object here. Follow now what is Adhyasa is? What has that to do with Vedanta? Snake, that's why my wife keeps saying all Vedanta is nothing, Advaita, nothing but snake and rope only. I am superimposing the Visishta Chaitanyam on the Samanya Chaitanyam. Follow now? Remember, now you know what is Samanya and what is Visishta. And getting carried away with the Visishta, forgetting the Samanya. That is the Adhyasa Bhashya. Okay, that's why the Adhyasa Bhashya comes in, where the Brahman is the Samanyam, the existent consciousness that I am is the Samanyam, but superimposing, he is different, she is different, it is different, all differences that I am, Visishta is superimposing on the Samanya, but forgetting the Samanya and going after Visishta only. But what the scripture is saying, I cannot know Visishta unless I have the knowledge of the Samanya. What is the knowledge of Samanya? There is he or he, she, their existence is there. And how do you know? But I am conscious of. Consciousness is also there. Without that, you cannot establish anything in the world. So here, the whole thing is again coming into that. What is that? There is a padam and padartham. There is a noun, known object to which you are associating an object which may not be real even, because from the absolute point it's not real, for only transactional purpose is real. Transactional purpose means only as long as you are able to transact it. When I understand the higher, then you see unreality. So that's why in all our Upanishads, what is the example given is the dream example. Where when I am in the dream, I see the world is real. For a dreamer, swakale satyavad bhati. But prabodhe satya sad bhavet. This is from the Atma Bodha. See, when, as long as in that swakal, in that state and of when I am a dreamer in the dream subject, that is really real for me. Only when I am awakened to the higher state of consciousness, looking back, the tiger that I saw in my dream is no real tiger, it's only my mental projection. That knowledge came only when I am awakened to the higher state. Now, what to do with this waking state? Similarly, what I am seeing is a plurality and I think it is a reality, is not really real. It's only projection of the mind. Now ask, whose mind is projecting? These are questions, right? People ask, whose mind is projecting this world? Dream world, I am projecting my mind. But whose mind is projecting this world? That's why we brought Ishvara now. Ishvara's mind is projecting the whole world. He is having yoga nidra. Remember, we have yoga nidra. He is sleeping in a comfortably in a Dunlop bed and dreaming all these things. So Ishvara is how can why is he dreaming me? Why do you say he is dreaming? He dreamt and he himself this also. Remember, he himself became many. So now go back to your dream, because this otherwise this gets confusing. When I sleep in the dream, when I am dreaming it, I create the dream world, and as though I entered into my own creation as a subject in the dream, and looking at the world there. You follow? You create yourself, you are not, the other one is sleeping in the bed. The mind that is waking mind is creating the whole dream world and also entering into the dream as a subject in the dream and looking at the objects in the dream and thinking that somebody created that. So the total mind Brahman, as though is creation of the whole universe, as though entered into Jiva and experiencing this world, forgetting that it's my own creation, and thinks, oh Lord, who is creating? And all this triangular format comes into picture. Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara. Follow now all that? But once Vedanta comes, says, so should I have Vedanta? I have to wake up now. Because dream world is dream, as long as I am dreaming, dream world is continued. The tiger will be completely chasing me. I am running away. Only when I get up, I realize that there is no tiger. So I have to get up first before Vedanta can come. Says no. You can get up while sleeping here. Why? Because for this, what you need is a viveka, which you cannot get in the dream state, because if you have a viveka, you don't sleep. Intellect has to be bright. When the intellect is bright, you cannot get sleep. Therefore, in the dream state, you cannot develop the discriminative faculty to differentiate what is nityam and what is anityam in the adhyasa. Follow? So, no realization can come in the dream state or in the deep sleep state, only in the waking state, because I need that viveka for me to see, because this mixture is always there, and with the mixture I have to separate using the same equipment that are created by in the world, in the dream, in the waking state. That's why it is subtle. Therefore, there is a Jivan Mukta, one who has realized yet still living here. Thank God, otherwise who will teach us? If he has realized and gone, then who can teach? Somebody can teach, then he has not realized, because he has realized all gone. So, thank God, he can still stay here and then teach us what he has learned. That's what we need. A Jivan Mukta can still transact the world, knowing very well this is unreal. There's a lot of complications and a lot of philosophical arguments come that we'll address later as we see in the 14th mantra or 13th mantra. But this is all implied. Here I'm looking at only Padartham and Padam, objects and the world, Shabda Prapancha and Artha Prapancha. So here the Upanishad is only concentrating on the Shabda Prapancha, because Artha Prapancha automatically follows. Without the name, there cannot be an object. So here is only naming is given. So this is created, elephants, tigers is only name. But there has to be an object associated with each of the elements, because name cannot be there without an object associated with it. So here it is Shabda Prapancha is being discussed in terms of how, what Shabdas are using. Now it is telling the Vedas as the Shabda. Follow now? It is not telling about any other philosophy or any other subjects, philosophy, chemistry, because remember, they all come under avidya. What is real vidya is going to tell. And therefore it says, Evam vares etadhyatu mahato bhutasya. Mahato bhutasya is that big, highest one, highest from which the whole universe, you can say it can be Hiranyagarbha, where the Mahatbhuta, from there, the Brahma was created, from which the whole Brahmaji, whole creation starts. So Mahabhutasya Nisvasitam etadhyatyatu. So when it is as though the whole thing is coming out when he is breathing out. So here the example is, Lord is sitting and he is breathing in and breathing out. So whenever he is breathing out, the whole universe is coming out as though, means it's not effort. When you are breathing, you are not making any effort. Sir, please don't disturb me, I have to do what? Breathing. You don't say that. You breathe all the time. Necessarily maybe, but you breathe all the time. Whether you are awake or asleep, breathing goes on naturally. That's one analogy of what breathing here means. So Swasam is like a breathing going on. Also, implication of that analogy is that it is cyclic process. So you breathe in and breathe out, breathe in and breathe out. So there is a projection of the whole universe, there is a withdrawal of the whole universe also, implied in the very example in which the Vedas is describing. So when it projects, what is it projecting? It says Rigvedo, Yajurvedo, Samavedo, Atharvaveda. So all four Vedas are coming. And Veda means knowledge. Vidya means to know. Veda means knowledge. That knowledge means what? Knowledge of things. So there is a nama for which everything else, because all other vidya is not vidya. This is the real vidya. Why? Because other one is, remember, you become more ignorant, all those things I mentioned. This is the only knowing which everything you know. Therefore, this is the real vidya. Therefore, Rigvedo, Yajurvedo, Samavedo, Atharvaveda, he is only giving the Vedas as the real vidya from which the whole universe is coming out. And therefore there is a Padam, and therefore Sabda Prapancham, therefore Artha Prapancham is automatically following. So here the emphasis is only in the Sabda Prapancha. And up to that we see Angirasa, 4 Vedas. So it says the Yajurveda, the Rigvedo, Yajurvedo, Samavedo, the Angirasa, other Angirasa Veda. So that's then Itihasaha. So here we have questions. What are the Itihasa? So here Itihasa, Puranam, Vidya, Upanishadaha, Slokaha, Sutrani, Anuvyakyani, Vyakyanani, Asvai Vedani, Nisvasadani. So what are the Itihasa? Here Itihasa Shankara interprets Itihasa is not meant by this Mahabharata and Ramayana. They were not there. These are about Vedas. So the story part in the Vedas are Itihasas. Just now we told the story. Once upon a time, long ago, there was one Rishi by name Yajnavalkya, and he has two wives. One is Maitreyi and Katyayini. All that story part of it is all Itihasa. So here, everything relates to only Vedas here. So Itihasaha, Puranam. Puranam is that which is beginningless before. So that which is Puranam is oldest. That which is oldest means about that. What does that Vedas talks about? Talks about that creation only, creator only. What's the Purusha Suktam? So that Aham, this is Sahasrasisha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrabat Sabhumim Vishwato Vrutva Atyatishta Dashana Purusha Ye Vedagum Sarvam. What is that says? That has to be known word. The essence of all the Upanishads is nothing but Purusha Ye Vedagum. That is the essence of which, that is essentially what is Purusha. Purusha means that which is being revealed by the Veda. What is that Purusha? In this Upanishads, Ahameva, there is nothing but I am only. So therefore, the Puranam here stands for that which is before even creation itself, is being talked in the creation also, in the Vidya. Therefore, that is the Puranam. And Vidya is arts. Upanishadaha is the Upanishads that we are doing. Slokas are there in the Vedas. Sutrani, there are sutras and mantras and all that. Anuvyakhyani, interpretation, all are Brahmanas are interpretations. Vyakhyanani, Asyai Vaitani, Nisvasitani. So all that is essentially related to the four Vedas in which everything else is. That's why Vedas are highest pramana for us. Everything, even Puranas and all that are only secondary. We accept any religion, any book, as long as they agree with Vedas. So actually what we do, we agree only with Vedas. So we have no conflict with any religion as long as their contents are in agreement with the Vedas. Sankhya philosophy, we take whatever they say, provided it agrees with the Vedas. Those we agree, we criticize. That's not right. Follow? This is true across the board. That's why in the Brahma Sutras also, Sankhya is criticized in the first chapter, and even Jainism, Buddhism, or some isms are criticized in the second chapter, where we take only whatever is acceptable that agrees with us. So what is the pramana? Pramana means what is the source on which we rely on is only Vedas. We don't rely on anybody also. He may be a Mahatma. Even Krishna, we don't believe, even though he may be Avatara, unless what he says is what he says Veda. Therefore, in fact, he says, what I say is, Rishibhik Bahuda Gitam. What I am saying is sung by the Rishis before. I am not telling new things here. So that's exactly what he also has to refer to the Vedas as the very basis. Now, where did the Vedas come into picture? Is it creation or is it there? It came with the creation only, it is not created. So therefore, the breathing is going on, as the breathing in and breathing out, as soon as there is life there. So the one who is going to create, he has to be alive, not dead person cannot create, right? So obviously, the breathing is spontaneously coming and spontaneously going as a cyclic process. It comes and it is naturally coming. Therefore, it is not even creation by Ishvara also. Not that God created. God only revealed. What did he reveal? About himself. What did he do? About the nature, because Purusha Vedagum Sarvam. That which is Purushaya, that only has to be known by the Vedas. What do I need Vedas to know? About what this only? About what? About I am. You can say Brahman or Ishvara or Ahamasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. That is what is being not here. All that is implied in this sloka. He doesn't say he created this world, he created this, he created that. He didn't say, he says he created the Vedas, and Vedas talk about him only, about the creator. So all this Itihasa, Puranam, Vidya, Upanishadu, Sloka, Mantra, Sutrani, Mahavakya, the Vakya, Anuyakhyani, all that is within the Vedas only. Description of the Vedas. Yesterday I made some mistake, I don't remember. No, if I tell that mistake, then you are thinking, what did he make mistake? If I didn't tell, you won't know. In the Ananda, Sutrasya Akamaya Tasya, I forgot that. In the Ananda, Manushya Anandaha, remember, the one who owns the whole universe, along with everything, is one happiness of a one human being. One who has that is happy, and that happiness is counted as unit of one. And same unit of Ananda, one can gain Sotriyasya Akamayatasya. This statement is repeated every Ananda. You should remember. What is the Sotriyasya Akamayatasya? That repeat. We Sotriyaha, that means the one who knows the Vedanta, that means one who attended the Memorial Day camp, and Akamayatasya, one who has no more desire for Ananda depending on anything else other than himself. He also is happy, as equally happy. The other one who has everything also is happy. One who doesn't have anything else because he doesn't need anything anymore, because he is happy by himself, he is also equally happy. At every level, this is repeated. Ultimately, who is the one who is really happy with, doesn't depend on anything else, is the one who is Sotriyasya Akamayatasya. Akama means not having any desire. Why he doesn't have desire? Because he is already full. So one who is Purnam by himself doesn't have any more desire for anything else because he doesn't need any more. He can only give, not receive. And that alone is really happy. Everybody is only temporarily happy as long as he has those. So that is the Srishti aspect of this sloka. So he has covered Sthiti and Srishti. So what is left is Layam, and that he's going to do from 11 and 12 slokas. There is no signal, no lunch, nobody is coming here. So don't worry about anything. So the lunch will not be ready even if you go there. So I give a choice. And I shouldn't give, but I give a choice. You want to continue or you want to disperse? It's up to you. Huh? You want 5 minutes break? No. Continue? Okay. I don't know, anybody, other people kept quiet. That's their problem. Because we hear only few people noise. So it's I will continue until signal comes. Whether we are hungry or not, we have to continue now. So now we are talking about the Layam aspect of it. So how does the Upanishad, Yajnavalkya teaches his wife, his disciple's wife. So sloka 11. Sayatha sarva samapam Sayatha sarva samapam samudra ekayanam yevam sarvesham sarshanam tvagekayanam Evam sarvesham gandhanam nasike ekayanam. Evam sarvesham rasanam jihvaikayanam. Evam sarvesham rupanam chakshurekayanam. Evam sarvesham shabdanam sotramekayanam. Evam sarvesham sankalpanam mana ekayanam. Evam sarvesham vidyanam hrudayamekayanam. Evam sarvesham karmanam hastamekayanam. Evam sarvesham anandanam upastamekayanam. Evam sarvesham adhvanam padavekayanam. Padavekayanam. Evam sarvesham vedanam vagekayanam. Did I miss something? Yeah. Evam sarvesham visarganam upastapaya ekayanam. Paya ekayanam. I forgot one line. Too many ekayanams. Actually, I forgot it. I wrote it on the side. So here, he gives the first example, then illustration of what exactly happens. How does the layam dissolution occur? That's a question. Now, first we take the example, then we will go into analysis. Sayatha, in the same, just as Sarvasam apam samudra ekayanam. Sarvasam apam. Apam means water. Sarvasam apam means all types of water that you can think of. Samudra ekayanam, merge back into the ocean. Okay, this is the example that we have. All rivers ultimately merge back into the ocean. All waters ultimately merge back into the ocean. It may take different steps in the process. So water there, it has to evaporate and then drain somewhere and then again back to the ocean. So this goes on. And in the very example is again it recirculates. Remember, Samudram again evaporates and come back into varieties and again go back into Samudram, again go back. Therefore, this Sushti Laya goes, it's only not Laya, but Laya has to again born as the again creation. Therefore, we always have this Brahma, Ishvara and Brahma, Vishnu and the Maheshwara. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, they are, one is a creator, another is a sustainer, and another is an annihilator. Annihilation is required for further creation again. So annihilation is part of this cycle only. And they themselves cannot do anything unless they have their wives. Because Brahma, for Brahma to create, he needs a knowledge of creation. And knowledge is nothing but Saraswati. So he is married to Saraswati. Vishnu cannot maintain it. Maintenance is very expensive. You may build a cinema mission, but maintaining continuously is very expensive. So we need a continuously fund. Don't think that we have already built this. No, we don't need funds. We need continuously funds. So therefore maintenance is required, and that's more expensive. Therefore, it's called, I'm coming from a Navy. I don't know if you know, I work for a naval research lab. For Navy side, we estimate the life is not just the cost that you make. Cost, it's called life cycle cost. We give it a word called life cycle cost. Life cycle cost involves not only making it, but maintaining it also, continuously until it's no more useful. And the maintenance cost is very expensive because every time we take a plane down, you have to, continuously you have to remove it and then put it back and all that. So this is a big problem, big expensive. I'm waiting for lunch also, just for you. Just for you, because remember I told you, Chinmaya Mission members, we are Chinmaya Mission members. So when things come, when the things are made, we also have to have a maintenance along with it. So expense of maintenance is very expensive, and that's part of including the life cycle costs. So what they do when you buy, when the India government buys F-18, F-17s, they only sell the planes, but they don't sell knowledge of how to maintain them, because that's very expensive, and you have to pay separately for it. That's why information. What I do is essentially that, trying to develop models to how to maintain before things go to service. So that if there is a crack there, we don't know whether we should repair it or replace it. So we should know how long it's going to, before next flight, does it going to break it, or it will go continue for some more cycles before I can pull it down, because expensive, maintenance is very expensive. If it can continue, let it go. But the life may be involved, so we have to use all sorts of analysis to find out whether it's going to withstand the vehicles and all. That's part of my, where I get paid for breaking things, that's what it is. But here, I don't know what life cycle. Here, the cyclic process is indicated by the example itself, where Sayatha, Sarvam, Apaha, all the waters that are collected, different types of waters, rivers and streams and the ponds and everything, ultimately reach ocean. And from the ocean, they come back again to the rain and again ultimately form. This cyclic process will go on. Just as that, withdrawal also takes place. That is the example. Now, how does it apply here? It's a very beautiful way of explaining here. It takes Jiva experience as a consideration to explain the layam here. Okay? Because remember, Atma is the central theme. The self that I am is the central theme. That's why my introduction I took so long time. Why? Because the world that I see is nothing but the properties that I am gathering through the five senses. And how do I know my Sabda Sparsa Rupa? I have five senses from which I can gather through the five senses the properties. And therefore withdrawal is also through the senses. Follow now? Because the world is nothing but Nama, Rupa. Rupa is properties of the whole world. Name I gave, because naming is knowing. Nameability is knowability. That comes from me, subject. Object is the words with a name, with a form only. And form is known through the senses. And how do you know that I really see the chair that is there? I see it is a chair, but is it really there? Go and sit there. Then you know it is chair. Therefore, there is a karma involved. So there is a jnanendriyas and karmendriyas are involved in establishing that the world that I see is real, at least in that field. This is true in the waking world, and this is true in the dream world also. So in the dream world also, if you go to Madhyandina Upanishad, it tells you all that ekona vimsati Mukaha. In the waking state, ekona vimsati mukaha. In the dream state also, ekona vimsati mukaha. What is ekona vimsati? Is 1 less than 20. Is ekona vimsati is 1 less than 20. Mukha means thing that we going out to gather. What is 1 less than 20? Means 19. What are the 19 things? 5 karmendriyas, 5 jnanendriyas, 5 panchapranas, 5 panchabhutas. Or, that means that's 20, right? That became 20. So we'll remove the panchabhutas. We have to come up with 19. So the mind, intellect, ego, and chitta, the four. So the 15 plus 4 is 19 mukhas in which you are interacting with the panchabhutas that are out there. Okay? So this is stated both for the waking state and the dream state also described the same way. That means there also I have 5 senses, there also I have 5 karmendriyas, there also I have this mind, intellect, ahankara and chitta, 4, the total 19 mukhas in which I am going out and gaining the knowledge of the world outside. But where is that when I start withdrawing all those things? In the Chandogya Upanishad, this is how the death is being explained. Janami, Janami, everybody says, do you recognize me? I am this uncle, I am your nephew, I am this, all these people are coming. My eyesight is going down, my hearing is capacity is going down, withdrawing. That's why my wife complains, I am not listening to her nowadays. because the capacity to hear also is going, withdrawing one by one as the sense organs are getting right. So the world is also disappearing. The world of Shabda goes away as I cannot hear anymore. The world of vision goes away as I cannot see anymore. Colors and all that gone. So, withdrawal of the whole universe is related again from the Jiva's point, and looking at from this Atma, he is going to withdraw all the instruments of perception and instruments of action, therefore the layam. His layam becomes a pralayam also. If it is. So here, now if I understand where the methodology of this teaching is coming from the Atma point, therefore, withdrawal is also coming from the Atma point only, the Upanishad is teaching us. So therefore, it starts with 5 Panchendriyas, then from Karmendriyas, then mind and intellect, all that starts withdrawing one by one, and he's gone and everybody else is crying, but he's happy somewhere else. So here, that is what, if you, once you understand it, now you see each statement here, then it becomes clear. Evam sarvesham sparshanam tvagekayanam. Tvak means sarvam. So all the objects of this constant touch by which I know the objects that are withdrawn through this to the skin, means sense of touch is being withdrawn. Now skin means skin is only external. The sense of touch. When you become, when they give you the anesthesia, it becomes numb, right? The nerve system. Then even if you touch, you won't know. So skin is there. It's not the skin that you're talking about. It is the sense of touch through which the mind has to be, the subtle body has to be involved. Therefore, see here we are talking about instruments, karmendriyas, they're called indriyas. It is the subtle part of the subtle body only, total. Karmendriyas and jnanendriyas are part of subtle body, not the gross body. That's what we call golakams. They call golakam. Means like eyes are golakam. But sense of sight is different from just eyes. Eyes are needed, but eyes are not. You can have eyes, but you may not have eyesight. So that is sense of system. So evam sarvesham sparshanam tvagekayanam. All are withdrawn from the skin to the sense of touch is withdrawn. And you can say, apply one by one. Evam sarvesham gandhanam nasike ekayanam. Ekayanam means ekam ayanam. One, it goes only into one, completely into one. Dissolves into one. So samudram ekayanam. One into the one ocean. Not that there are several oceans. Ocean as one, it goes into that. In the same way, sparshanam, the sense of touch, goes into the skin. Gandhanam. So esam sarvesham means esam sarvesham are repeated everywhere. All that belong to that field of knowledge are withdrawn by that sense organs. As it is withdrawn, the one is sitting in the deathbed is withdrawing one by one. As in fact, old is coming, Yamadharma says, I have been sending you signal after signal, you are ignoring it. When I send the first signal, starts thinking becoming hair becoming a white, so we cover with a black paint, ignore it. So we start ignoring things as he is sending a signal after signal. So time to come and start backing up and go to memorial day camps and all that. This is time for you. we ignore it. So here, not that, I mean, young people also coming, that's good. So, Svarshanam Tvagekayanam, Gandhanam Nasikekayanam, Rasanam Jihvaekayanam, and Rupanam Chakshu Ekayanam. Rupanam is all the forms and the colors, or the Rupam includes color also in the Chakshu, the eye, the sight, the sense of sight. Sabdanam Sotramekayanam, the sounds are going back to the sense of this one. So in the 15th chapter, it's also described, in the 15th chapter of Gita also, this is described, where what exactly is the death. Death is nothing but remove the separation of the subtle body from the gross body. So in the subtle body, it collects all the five senses, all the subtle body things only it collects. That includes pranas, pancha pranas, and five karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. All that is included, and it leaves this gross body because the gross body is no more fit for it to stay. That's all. So therefore you want another apartment. This apartment has become useless, so you go to another apartment. Until it is there, take care of it. The car is still running little bit. So go to gas station, service station, try to repair it if it can be repairable. It comes to say where new car is cheaper than repairing cost, what do? Then you pull on until it drops dead. Same way, the body is also to be taken care until it drops. Not that you should ignore it, because it is vehicle for attending camps also. Otherwise you cannot. So it is needed for even for to realization also. So until then, when I'm withdrawing in the 15th chapter, it says you withdraw this, and separation of the subtle body from the gross body is death. Where does it go? Separation, where does it go? Remember, in all our languages, mar gaya, sachipoinadu, means he mar and gaya, dead and gone somewhere. So he has gone somewhere. That means he's not really dead, completely dead. So he's gone somewhere else where he can find some place where he can stay. That's why because this is useless apartment anymore. Everything is leaking here. So there's no point in staying here. So he wants to find another better apartments. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara yata dehanta prapti. Therefore, this is the process that is being described here. Is a withdrawing of this at this level, at the same way, just as coming out, and now layam also from the point. So the whole world is being withdrawn when I'm withdrawing my sense organs. Because if my five senses are not there, there is no world for me. Don't say world is there, other people are there. Who is other people? I don't see any other people. Only when I see other people, they'll say there is other people. If I don't see any other people, how do you know there is other people? So, when I am withdrawing each sense organs, and therefore automatically that world is gone. So, he is withdrawing one by one. Therefore, Rupanam Chakshuhu, Sabdanam Sotram, Sankalpanam Mana Ekayanam. Sankalpa means all things that I want to do this, I want to do this. Remember, you have a do list. Every day you have something, I need to do this, I need to do that, and I need to do that. And if you retire, I thought you won't be doing it, so your list grows bigger. I still, even though I am retired, I retired in 2004, but I still work when I am here. 6 months when I am there, I still work. You know what? Because otherwise they have honey-do list. I don't know if you know honey-do list. Honey-do list is if I stay at home, honey, can you do this? Honey, can you do this? Honey, can you do this? There's a bigger list. So I thought it's better to go to office where honey-do list is not there that much. So do list is always there, and it will become more when you retire. If you think when you retire there will be more, because they think that you are useless, otherwise you can be useful this way. I don't know, but I cannot tell all these jokes because my wife is not here. Remember? I know a lot of people know my wife, so but she knows that I joke also. So it's normally she's here, but there are a lot of dance. She's a dance teacher, so there are a lot of Dance teachers, dance students at home going on. Okay. Vidyanam Hrudayam Ekayanam. So Sankalpanam, all the Sankalpas go back into the mind. So I cannot have any more do list anymore. I withdraw. There is nothing more to do for me. It's gone. So there is one fellow, he says, when you think of, say, Antakalepi Mamesha, says, in the last minute, if you can think of me, you reach me. That is good. Why didn't you tell that before this camp started? Unnecessarily wasted my time. Because I can think of in last minute and then go, why all this Vedanta for me? If you think it, nothing will happen. So one fellow put his names for our students, all the kids' names. Hey, you're Narayana, one is Sri Krishna, another, so that when he calls it, he thinks of the Lord. At least so he read this sloka, Antakalepi. So I have all my children's names. So when I say Narayana, I'm thinking of him only. So there is actually the story in Bhagavatam. This fellow suddenly thought about Narayana in the last minute. And until then he never thought about Narayana, and until then he has never done anything in terms of towards this. So the Yamadhutas came to pick him up because that's all his accounts are. Up to that point, his accounts are all things that where Yama has to come for this. Right? But along that, the Vishnu Dutas also came there. Say, why you guys are come? You are not supposed to come here. His accounts are different. No. He said Narayana in the end. Remember Bhagavad Gita stoka. Antakalejmameva. So therefore we have come. But he doesn't know Narayana. But Narayana knows. When somebody calls Narayana, so when you call Narayana, say all Narayanas will turn towards you, right? Because they know they are Narayanas. So Narayana knows he is Narayana, and he knows somebody called him, so he has said, okay, we'll do one thing. Since he has said Narayana, you can take him to the place for a just visit. But he has this account, so after we just for a visit, then come back. We'll take him to the hell. So this boy was listening to all this conversation between the Yamas and Vishnu. Says, these guys don't know Bhagavad Gita properly. So okay, let me tell them. So he went along with this. Joseph Jiva went to the Narayana. Then after a couple of minutes, because he only said a couple of minutes, right? The Yamadevas are waiting for him to take it to the Yamaloka. He says, no, I'm not coming. You guys didn't read Bhagavad Gita properly. Why? Because once you have reached my place, no return back. Tadhama paramam mama. Remember? Yadgatvana nivattarto adhama paramamma. Once you have reached that stage, there is no more return back. Please read your Bhagavad Gita properly. Therefore, I am not coming back. But this, I don't know, it's my story or his story. But once I know what exactly is, just this fellow, this way Narayana, this fellow is Krishna, this fellow is Vaikuntha, Venkateshwara, all these names are there. So he's sitting in the deathbed, almost ready to, where is Narayana? I am here, Papa. Where is Venkateshwara? All that. Is everybody is here, who is taking care of the shop? That's what his last thought. So last thought is not guaranteed just because you think that you are going to think about that as Krishna said. Therefore, says, I don't know whether I may be able to think in my deathbed. As the Kulashekara Alvar in the Mukunda Mala screams out, says Krishnatva diya pada pankaja panjarantam advaita me mishatu manasarajam saha prana prayana samaye kapavata pittai kantava rosana kudau smaranam kutaste. Therefore chintayami arimeva santatam. So therefore, in the last bed when I am ready to die, I am dying, I don't know whether I can think of you. So only to ensure that I want to think of you all the time. Then only I will think of you at that time also. When I am not able to breathe properly, cough properly, do any of those and involved in my body is deteriorating and I have no control of anything, how can I think of you at that time? So let me think of you all the time so that it will come automatically there. That is the, called Alvar, Kulashekar Alvar, he was a king actually. He wrote Mukundamal, beautiful Mukundamal. And that's the first thing my mother taught me actually. I remember still. You know, I'm a Vaishnavite. You can see from Namam. The Namam, that's what we learned. First thing is Mukundamala and all those things. So we start learning from the childhood. Anyway, this withdrawal comes into picture, and where does it go? Mind after withdrawing, it goes where the next demand is. Where it wants to go. Next demand comes from next set of vasanas ready to germinate. That provides you where the field it is to go. If I don't have any vasanas, that's what he's going to tell later in the next slokas. So right now, so vidyanam hridayamekayanam, the knowledge, the intelligence goes back into the intellect. Karmanam hastamekayanam, all the karmendriyas. Now we're talking about the karmendriyas aspect of it. So karmendriyas in terms of the activities, because you act with the hands are there to act. So it goes back to the sense of action. And anandana upastamekayanam, all that sensual pleasures go back to the sense organs. Advanam padamekayanam. So all the mobility goes back to the padam. Padam is the foot. Vedanam bhagavedan. All the knowledge goes back to the speech. Now, what is this? Vadanam, Vedanam, Vagayanam. So, how do you know that he is knowledgeable? One is knowledgeable how? Only when he opens his mouth, isn't it? Otherwise, you won't know. He may be knowledgeable, but for me to know someone is knowledgeable or not, he has to open our minds. That's why in science also, you have to publish it. There only we know that what you have done is right. That is the expression of that, what you know. Otherwise, it's no. You may have done fantastic discoveries. If it is not published, it's useless. And for the Vedanta also, not only you should know, because you gain the knowledge by srotavyaha, by listening to your teacher you have learned. Therefore, whenever a student comes to you, tadvidhi pranipatena pariprasnena sevaya, Krishna says, upadeshyanti te jnanam. They will teach. Why they will teach? Because they have obligation to their teacher. Because they have learned and the teacher was so lovingly gave. Therefore, they have obligation as an Acharya Runam to the Acharya that he has learned. And therefore, they cannot but teach, provided a student has the Shraddha to listen to it. Okay? So that is part of Vedanam Vagekayanam. So in this way, withdrawal occurs of one by one, where the Srushti, Sthiti and Laya occurs. And this is a cyclic process until I get out of the cycle. Because this is anadi, beginningless. There is no beginning for the creation, because the same thing will again come back and again, like the breathing of that. But where is the end of it? There is no end. That which has no beginning has no end. Then how do I get out of it? Get out of it is realizing that you have no beginning itself. You are beginningless. That's how you get out. It's not that you are get out of the cycle. You have to get out of the cycle, recognizing that the cycle itself is not there. You follow now? How exactly it's not that within the cycle you cannot get out. I have to recognize that I am beyond the cycle, because just as when I go to a deep sleep state, I am by myself. There is no world of anything at all. But now I go to that state with an understanding that I am that. There is no understanding in the deep sleep state. There is no mind there. With the mind I understand. Now I recognize that. Recognition means re-understanding, re-analyze, called realization. That is the only way I can get out. Otherwise I cannot. So all this is prescribed, and in the next sloka is a very, very important sloka. It is called the salt crystal example. Saindhava Kalyam. Saindhava Kalyam is the salt crystal, and this 12th mantra is quoted many places by Shankara. And this is the sloka, because we'll go to a meeting, because we'll take up later, but this is the sloka on the basis on which all my introduction came, in terms of there is a consciousness everywhere. The consciousness is getting reflected as the Chidabhasa, and Chidabhasa is the one that all that comes from this sloka only. Upahita Chaitanyam. Upahita means within the enclosure I have to realize, just as the Gaudapada uses an example of the pot and the pot space. Pot space thinks that I am only space inside the pot. I am born because of the pot, I exist because of the pot, and I die when the pot goes away. If things is a space, you better understand you are the total space itself. There is no division of this space and that space. You are all-pervading space. There is no divisions in the space. Even the pot walls are also in the space only. Pot doesn't, when the pot maker makes pot, the maker didn't put space into it. When only made the walls, space is already there. All that Vedantic knowledge to the pot, once it recognizes, even while living in the pot, as a pot space, recognizes I am the total space that pervades even the walls of the pot also. That is called Upahita Chaitanyam. Pot space can only recognize I am the pot space, yet I am the total space. Follow now? It doesn't have to break the walls in order to know that I am the total space. Therefore, being in the pot space, enclosed by the pot, still recognizing that I am the total space that pervades this pot, that pot, that pot, that pot. I am there in this pot, I am there in that pot, I am there in this good pot, the smelly pot, the dirty pot, or the noble pot, gold pot or a silver pot or iron pot or a mud pot. I am the space that pervades all the pots. Samanyam and Visishtam. That knowledge has to be there. And in the Saindhava Lakshana, the example is taken where the pot is going to get dissolved. So it's talking about Videha Mukti. When pot goes back into the sea, the crystal, salt crystal that came from the sea only, it's going back into the sea, it merges into the sea, where there is no more identity of this place is salty, that place is salty, that place is salty. Everywhere it pervades all over, without any Namarupa. That aspect is also comes out from this. So it's a Videha Mukti, and also some confusion about the people about Jivan Mukti also is there. What exactly realization and what is involved in the relation is also involved. Therefore, Shankara quotes this, and this is the one of the famous slokas also. We stop here because people also is looking around, and so when is the call coming and so on and so forth. So we will do first Purnamada, then Brahmarpanam, and hope for that there will be some Brahmarpanam. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Sishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha.